We have a fair value gap and then or imbalance. But then before we dive into that this evening, I would like us to retouch the platform that we are using, the tool we use to do our chats, and have a quick overview as requested from some of our newest members in the house. So I'll quickly do that and then we'll go straight to the topic for tonight. Hi, Ocean. Can you hear me? Okay, I think we should start right now. So I will do a quick. So if you are new here, if this is the first time you are joining us in this live section, or you are a new member, please type one in the chat box. Okay. So I'll quickly share my screen. And I believe everybody can see my screen, right? So the tool we use for chatting is trading view. So you go to your, depending on the phone you are using, uh, you go to your trading view or your app store or your Apple store, and you type trading view and then you download. Since I already downloaded it, so the tool you will see it like this is with this theme with the T and a black font. So it's trading view, and then you click on it and you sign up. So you come and it's always looking like this. So from your phone interface, this is what you are going to see. And what you are going to, so I taking screenshot so I can show us. So the interface is going to be like this. And the things that you are going to get on real time is your candlestick chart, which I'll be showing us. So you see this, which are your candles, which are always represented in green and red. So these are price charts that is always representing price, and you also have your price movement over here with the green. All right. So the next thing you will see on your screen, it's also the buyers, which is represented here, and the sell, and you'll also see the pair, which is BTC USDT. Even though this is written perpetual contract, so if we at our community we don't trade the perpetual contract, we trade the spot market. And then down here you see your watch list, you see your charts, and then you see explore and ideas menu. All of these things has their own functionality. So but then let's start with this watch list. So over here on watch list, if you click on it, this is a place in which where you can add coins that are your favorites. So I'll take a screenshot of this. So over here on this top right corner, you can easily add a coin to your favorite list and a watch list. So you can create watch lists So once you create a pair with a watch list, you would see it red flagged over here with this red flag. And here you can see I have a couple of coins here that are on my watch list. So you can add symbol clicking this add symbol, or you use your plus sign up here to add a pair. So this is for the watch list. So now let's go to the chart. So over here, down below, the next button you will see is the chart. And then once you click on the chart, for example, here on this chart, I have BTC USDT. In fact, as you can see from here, and it's showing the market price, which is the current price of BTC. Let's use the very sharp color, right? Okay. So you will see there is this 108,448,000 for US BTC price, and then you also see this candles that I told you before. So the green candle that you are seeing is representing the buys in the market, and the red is representing the sellers in the market. So which we always call or the bid or the ask price. So in fact, if you see here up here, you can see it's written buy, and in the red it's written the sell. But then you can also call the sellers the ask, and you can call the buyers the bid. So yeah, that's for charts. And when you go to the Explorer on our trading view, you will see here different futures. You see the stock market. So you see stock up here, you see crypto, you see futures, you see forex, and you see bond. But what we are highly interested in is the crypto, which is the market which we trade. And you also have your economic calendar up here. You have your brokers, you have news, and you can actually come here and get real life news, right, on the market. And you can also come here to come see ideas, other traders who publish things, and editors who publish on TradingView. So you also have menu. You can come here, then you will see your name, and then you also see like this, like a platform in which way you can have followers. So you can also publish on here. So you see, this is showing that I have a basic account, but you can also have like a premium account where more advanced features can be used on here. And you have like a 30-day free trial if you wanted to upgrade to the advanced. But I can tell you, the basic is actually nice. You can use it to do everything you want on here. So yeah, and that's for that. And yeah, nothing really much about that. But then other things that I can show you that we can use here is the tools, right? The tools. So let me those are the things I think we should also like. We had a walkthrough couple of, I think, some months ago when we started our technical classes. So here you have your tool and your indicators that you can use clicking on these buttons. So if you click on here, this is for the drawing tools and all of it. And here you can get all your indicators. So I'll click on it right now so you can see. So here, if I click on it, you see that we have the drawing tools, right? For here example, you have your measure tool, you have your long position tool. In fact, if you see here, there are some tools like the short position, long position, ellipse, paths, Fibonacci retracements, trend lines, horizontal ray, and all of it that I starred, and it's in yellow. I put them in my favorites. So because those are the tools that I always use. So if you see now, here I have some tools that I start. You can see, so you can as well start some tools that you know that you use. You can as well start some tools that you always use, so as you can keep them as your favorites. So you can always come back to them and use them easily. So for example, Let me give you a quick example of, you see, this is the short position tool. You can use this to, like, after you did your analysis, to know your entry points and your exit points, so as to know where you are taking your profit from and where you are entering and exiting from. So now, but we'll get to the point in which way we are using all these tools, right? So now, if I click on here again, we have our long position tool, which is for the long, like buying, and then we have our short position tool. So our long position tool will be this. Our long position tool is this, and our short position tool is this. So for the short position tool, that is for the sell. When you are placing a sell, and I'll actually go ahead and show us how it looks like. So if, for example, if I was planning on shorting this market or sell this market, I'll just come on here and click on our short position tool regarding on where I want to enter from. So I can say from here, I want to short the market, so I want to sell. So now my target is over here. So now, yeah, this is my short position tool, and the we also have the long position tool. So if I was to be buying, I'll just buy from here and place my long position tool, and also make my target here. And I can decide if it's 1 to 2 or 1 to 3 risk to reward ratio and all of it. So there are other couple of other tools that we can use, like the path tool to draw our market directions, and draw. We also have our trend line to mark out our trend. So about the tools, and then we also have the indicators, right? We can set alerts. So we have different type of indicators on here on TradingView that we can use. So we have, for example, different indicators. You can also favorite them. We have technical tools. We have volume. We have different type of indicators here. As you can see, you can also favorite them. We have volume. We have Fibonacci retracement. We have the RR, and so on and so forth, right? So that's just it about TradingView, and you can as well share with some other people if you wanted to. So yeah, uh, this was a quick review on TradingView, and we'll be going back to our main topic for tonight. So which is we'll be going back to our main topic of the night, which is imbalance or fair value gap. So guys, if there's anybody here who understood what we just explained, please type one in the chat box. Please type one in the chat box. And if you are new here also, type one. Let me see. And if there's any question, please, you can ask. So like I was saying, our main topic for tonight is so guys, if you can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So if you understood what we talked about on the TradingView, or if you have question, please you can ask in the chat box. But if you don't, we'll just continue with the topic for tonight. So yeah, okay. So our topic for tonight is fair value gap. So like we talked about the last time, right? We already talked about different topics, and we take our part two right now. We say, okay, now for example, we have our structure. So in an uptrend scenario, we have this. If we are having an uptrend scenario, we have higher highs, market creating higher highs and lower lower highs, and then we have something like this. So for you to know perfectly that it's an uptrend, I can pick my trend line to measure and see. In fact, our trend line is perfectly just mapped out like this, and you can see that with this trend line, that the market is moving in an uptrend, right? So uptrend. We said what we are talking about today is fair value gap. It's a simple topic, but then if you don't have the other knowledge about the topics that we talked about, for example, the break of structure and all other aspect that goes into actually analyzing, to have your fair value gap would be really hard. So for you to have a correct fair value gap, there are things that your analysis has to meet, right? There are things your analysis has to meet. So you have to have, for you to have a fair value gap, you want to be able to spot institutional candle in your charts. So for you to know an institutional candle, for you to be able to identify institutional candle, so IC, so we call it IC, institutional candles, IC. So you want to have your institutional candle. And how do you know there is an institutional candle in your chart? So you would have Marabozu candles that are forming. So you have 3 consecutive Marabozu candle in your pullback leg. For example, this is an uptrend. So now let me give you a clear scenario of what I mean. So we have our break of structure, right? Market actually breaking this high now. So we have BOS. Now we also have again market breaking structure again to this upside. BOS, and then we have another BOS up here. So market breaking structure to the upside. So now, how do we come about saying that we have BOS here, right? So now, let me show you. We have market creating this high, right? And there's a pullback. So there's this market creating this high and creating a pullback leg down here. And then it broke this recent high and then created this new high. And then did what again? Pull back. So which created this break. So if we say market break structure, what we intend to say that markets broke this recent high and then created a new high. So which means it broke structure. So broke structure, break of structure. So that's where the terminology break of structure actually derives from. So we say market broke a recent high to create a new high. So for market to do that, it actually came and created this high and then pull back, right? Creating a newer, lower high, lower high because this low here is lower than this low, right? So now creating a pullback leg now and creating this new high. And then getting here, so this market has broken this high, creating this new high. So we have a break of structure. So now another thing market did again now is creating this pullback and then boom, you see breaking this high here. So creating another structure here. So now this continues this same structure. So and this now and all to this extent. So now, since we know that market doesn't really move in a straight line, right? It moves in waves, which means as a good trader, you want to use past data, so history in the market, to determine what market will do in the future, right? So so now we are looking to enter. So we are looking for entry, right? So before you will be able to say you want to get a good entry in the market, there are things that you need to look for. And one of the things that you need to look for as a trader that uses this type of strategy, which is the smart money strategy, the SMC, you want to look for a fair value gap, right? Where institutions are joining the market, right? Where big banks are actually where liquidity. So you're hunting for liquidity. So you want to know where to put your entry at. So now, since you know, okay, market has done this before, you are looking for the same thing, right? The same scenario. So now you know that there will be a pullback after there is this leg that has been broken. And now what you are looking for now is an entry, a point of entry. But for you to get a point of entry, what you want to look for now is an imbalance, right? And for you to have an imbalance, they are so we say you look for what institutional candles. And for you to be able to define institutional candle, there are three scenarios, right? And I made this example the last time, but I will also be breaking this down again. So we want to have our three consecutive Marabusu candle. And when we say Marabusu candle, we talked about this the last time when we spoke and defined candles, right? Candlesticks. So in fact, if I go on the internet right now and I type, so these are something that I think you can go on your own and make research, right? So if I should type Marabusu candle here on my search bar, you will see it bring it out. I'm coming. Basic. So we're just typing randomly on the internet to see, okay? And then you see what the internet is going to do for us. So so to just give you an example. So you see, this is a Marabuzu candle. So a candle that forms that is either not having a wick at all, it's just a full body, right? With a full body, you see, it's a Japanese term meaning a bald head or a shaved head represents a candle with no or very small wicks or shadow. You see? So there are always three scenarios. Either the bullish candle is covering, is engulfing the next candle within it, or just a full body without a wick, right? So let's just go back to us. I believe we talked about it the last time. And then now it's just for me to just emphasize on it before I actually go back to our main discussion. So for you to have your institutional candle, you want to have a consecutive Marabusu candle, right? So I'll try and draw that for us on our chart so as we can see. And like I was saying, so for firstly, what you want to see is three Marabusu candle that are forming consecutively. And within this Marabusu candle, so you see something like this. So let's say in the first scenario, right, what you will see is a Marabusu candle that is forming without, so the one that is the most bullish scenario is when you see three Marabusu candle forming without the wick and forming like this. So now for you to determine where you have your gap, right? Because what we are looking for is imbalance and the gap. So now, this scenario, so you want to pick the first and the last candle, the gap between them, right? So when we say fair value gap or imbalance, so what we mean is where prices are actually being manipulated by the institutions or more influential traders that have big money, right? Smart money. When they join the market, they tend to create this imbalance in the market, or what we refer to as fair value gap, right? So the first scenario, which is very bullish, you will see three Marabusu candle, which is very bullish. So you see a big, huge candle in the market that is forming, right? Which the volume in it are always high. So we have different strategy to measure this. So we use volumes at times or some other tools, professional tools to measure this, to be able to spot this. So the first scenario that I would say is very bullish is when you see something like this. So three Marabusu candle without a wick. So you see something like this. If I draw my trend line and you see something like this, you see something also like this, and boom, you see here forming a gap, right? So you see a gap forming, and actually if you measure within this, you can see that there's a gap in it. So this is what we call, so it will come around here to form. Say, for example, now, this is a trend that you're following, right? You already see a break of structure and there's a pullback leg to this area. So now you want to enter this trade. You have to look for three Marabusu candles that are forming within this leg. And it has to have a gap. So in the biggest scenario that creates this big gap, right? This is where you see imbalance because the gap within it will be very large. And the first scenario that I told you is the one with the Marabusu candle. Either you see just the first candle having a wick or none of it are having wick. So up to this extent, if you understand anything, please type one in the chat box. Let me see. I want this class to be really interactive. So I would love to know if you are all following me. So up to this extent, if you understand, please type one. If you don't understand and you don't understand absolutely nothing, please type two. So let me know everybody is following along before we continue. Osas effects, I can see you typing one. That's nice. Please, we are like 19 in this chat. If you understand, please type one. If you don't understand and you want me to explain, please type two, please. Can you all hear me, please? Okay, Lovette Facey said two. Okay, I should explain. We have other people here who understands or they don't. Okay, two, no problem. Please, if you don't understand, just type two, please, so I can just explain. We are like 19 on the charts. We only have three people. Okay, Zoom user. This person who is named Zoom user, please, you can as well change your name so we can see your name, so I can as well like acknowledge who this person is. So there's an option for you on Zoom where you can change your name. Okay, we have three people who say they don't understand that we can re-explain. So at this, we still have like a lot of people on this Zoom. So please, if you understand, just type one. If you don't, please just type two, so we can know that we are going to explain. Already we have like three people. Okay. Does it mean the rest people we all understood? All right, no problem. Let me just recap on what we've said. So like I said, what we have here is a fair value gap or imbalance, right, in the market. So for you to have a complete analysis, you want to draw your market structure. So these are, if you are following up our class, our technical class, you will know that what we are doing is looking for entries. So what we'll first want to do when we open our chart is draw a market structure. So first, we want to identify the trend. So in this case, what we have here is an uptrend. So first, we identify our trend, which is an uptrend, because why? Market is creating an option direction by creating breaking structure to the upside. So creating this structure here. So we are having multiple break of structure to the upside. So now we said for you to have a good entry, right? So where we are actually expecting to have our entry from is somewhere around here, right? Somewhere around here. We are expecting to have an entry somewhere around here. So, but then before you do that, you just want to make sure that you are able to meet all the criteria, right? So, and one of the criteria is the topic that we are um, talking about tonight, which is your fair value gap or imbalance, right? So now, for you to spot a good and a correct fair value gap, there are things that you need to see in your chart. So, which is you are trying to spot institutional candles. So, when we say institutional candles, what is the definition of institutional candle? So, that is why now we were talking about the three Marabusu candles. So, now we say for you to have a fair value gap or an imbalance, right? Where price are being manipulated by institutions. So when you see markets creating these higher highs, they are blocks, right? So for you to have an order block, right? So this we call an order block because why? Where your entry, where you are looking to get into the market, those are orders in which institutions left in the market so as to drive price back to that same area before they can now push market back to the direction where they want to push it to. So now, for you to be able to spot where your imbalance is in the market, so these are the things that you need to look for. So there's a candle which we talked about before, which is called a Marabusu candle. So a Marabusu candle can be a candle with just the body without the wick. So what do we say a candle is? So a candle is, so this is a candle, this is a candlestick. So if I was to look for a Marabusu candle, this is an ideal Marabusu candle, right? So which you can see that is having a huge body and just a tiny wick, right? But then, if I want to define it for you here, we say a Marabusu candle is a candle in which has this, either it doesn't have wick at all and has just the body, right? So we have three of them consecutively following each other, right? And then now you want to look for your imbalance or your fair value gap. So now, from the body of your first Marabusu candle, and the third and the bottom of the third Marabusu candle, the middle of it is where you call your imbalance, the space between it, the first and the third, right? And the wick of the, or you will say the bottom of it, is where you refer to as the gap, right? Or the imbalance. In this case, is imbalance because the space within it is wider. So when the space within it is wide, you call it imbalance. When the space within it is tiny, you call it gap. So now this scenario, this is imbalance, IB. IMB. This is imbalance. This is the first scenario. So some other scenarios where you have your Marabusu candle forming like this, and you have a wick. And it has a wick. And then you see another like candle forming like this. So let's say there's a candle forming like this. And then this also is having like a wick. Sorry. Don't mind my drawings, but just for you to have a clear understanding of what we are talking about. So now you also have this, and then we have another Marabusu candle that is now covering from here. And this also is having like the wick. So now if you check from here, so if we try and draw our trend lines here, like what we did before, and then you say the third candle, the first and the third, right? So now we pick the line now. I'll draw from here also. You see the line, you see the gap between here, the space between this one and this one. There's a difference. This one is very wide. This is very tiny. This is Marabosu candle regardless with the wick. These are Marabosu candle without the wicks, right? But now you see that the space within this one is very tiny. So this is what we refer to as fair value gap, FVG. So this is what we refer to as fair value gap. And this scenario is less like it's less volatile when you see this. When you see this institutional scenario in the market, when the smart money join the market with this scenario, it's less volatile, right? It's less volatile. So now you have your fair value gap around here, right? And the last scenario might just be the one in which you see uh, the candle like this, think on executive, but this might have just a week. Sorry. And this. So we see just this one, just the first one, having the week. Come on, my drawing. And you see something like this. So the space within this one is just really, 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 really tiny. And I will show you a real life scenario of it on our charts. So yeah, this also we consider as an FVG. So you can see that these two candles here might be having their wicks, and the last one is having the full body, but then the space within the first and the third candle is very tiny. And we can see that it's clearing an FVG because the space within it is very small because it's just a little gap. But then the wider gap we refer to is at imbalance, right? Either of the scenarios. So either of these candles might be bullish or a bearish candle. It doesn't matter. What matters most is the gap between them, right? So now, then after we are able to spot after we spot our order block, which we talked about the last time, right? So what we should be looking for, which is the topic for today, is our imbalance, right? So it's immediately after you are able to spot your order block around here. So you always find your order block within, and then around here, you are able to spot your imbalance. So we'll do that on our chart right now. Let's see what we can use here. Let's go 30 minutes on Bitcoin and see if we have a clear trend. So up to now, do we have anybody that understood what we did? Please, if you do, type one in the chat box. Let's see. I will explain what we were talking about. So if you understood, please type one. Do anybody understand, or we still have questions? So if you have question up to now, please, you can type out your question, or you can unmute and ask your question before we go, before I give you a live example of what we have been talking about. Or don't you, or you don't still understand? Okay, we have SAS FX. Okay, so the other guys that typed two earlier. So I hope you are able to understand what we are talking about. We just have Osak, okay, Ekuma said one. I'm glad you are able to understand. Before we give you a live example of what we are talking about, please let me know if you understand the topic for tonight, the fair value gap, and the three scenarios, please. Just type one. And if you have any question, you can just unmute and ask before we give a live example. Okay, I'll just go ahead because of the time. I'll go ahead and give us a nice example about it. So yeah, I can see other people also typing one in the chat box, and that's great. So now let's look for a clear chat that we can use tonight to have a quick structure, a quick analysis. So if we are doing our top-down analysis, what we want to do is start our charting from a higher time frame, just to identify the trend in the market. So now, what I will try to do is, first of all, so let me clear this chart. So now, firstly, what we want to do is just identify the trend. So clearly, if I was to just focus my analysis on this area, just this area, but the full analysis here, if I go on a daily chart, I can still see that on our daily charts, the overall market movement is an uptrend, right? It's an uptrend. So then, yeah, I'll just, since I can see from here that we have an uptrend, what I want to do now, even though, yeah, I was normally I'll pick my part 2 and I draw on it. So I have also Divinely God who says one, and yeah, if Mr. Great also said they understood. I'm really glad that you guys did. All right. So on BNB USDT, we have on our spot chart, we have an uptrend, right? So now, for you to have a clear analysis, you want to know your trend direction. So now, since we know that it's an uptrend, so we go to our hourly charts and see what we can do from here. But even though our hourly chart is not actually giving us a clear indication of what we can do here, let me see. So now I just pick up my chart tool and see. Okay. Clearly you can see what the market is doing, right? So if I was to follow this trend, so I'll do something like this. All right. And then we'll do something like this. We can already see that market is actually changing trend. So we had a change of character, and then all of a sudden the market dropped. So now we can see market broke structure, continues to break structure to the downside in our hourly time frame. So now we can also see that it changed character of recently. So now if I was to come from this end here to come do my analysis, what I can see clearly from here is that I'm having a break of structure to this side. And I'm having it here also. I can see market clearly creating structure to the upside, but at a point, there was a change in trend. So now up to market created up to this upside, we can see the highest place where market created from this trend here. So this is the highest high the market created. So I'll map that out. So before I see that, you see this structure here was taken out. And you can see from here, there was a change of character here, which we talked about the last time as well. So I think our last topic was change of character, CHOCH. So we have our change of character here. And we have our BOS. So this structure, we say it's BOS over here. And we have multiple BOS, multiple break of structure. Let's be interested in these last two structures that was breaking to the upside, right? So here we have liquidity up here that we should be targeting. So yeah, I'll just mark that out with this. So we see. So now what market started to do after I created this structure and was unable to break it out, it started to create structure, break structure to the downside. So in fact, you can see from here. So market started to create a downtrend. So by creating, by breaking structures to the downside, here we can actually say it broke structure because it didn't. Yeah, it did not, because we are still within this range. So from here, we can actually start to count. So market broke this structure. And what did it do? It pulled back again, came back to this level. So there was another choke, but then it didn't fully break up to here. The market actually came here and started to create break structure downward. So we can see the market start to create lower structure. Now we are still back in this range. So now we can say this market is really choppy. So if I was to look for a scenario where I would see smart money join this market, so I want to look for what we are interested to look for here, right, is smart money. What smart money, what we can refer to as the topic that we are talking about this night. We didn't see it in this upward scenario, this uptrend scenario. We didn't see it here. Clearly, we can see that we have, so from this structure here, see, we can clearly say from this structure, look at, if you view carefully with me, so we had a structure from here, and then there was this pullback. So from this leg, if you see, from this leg here, let me zoom in so you can see what I'm talking about. I just want to give you a clear example of what I was talking about. So look out. You can see from the, no, let me just use my trend line. So you can see there is this candle. This one, this is a weak scenario, but let me just show you so you can see. So if I was to look for my other block, I would say my block is from here, because before I can see, I want to target 2. Where is my 3 Marabusu candle? 1, 2, and 3. So how do you spot that? It's very easy. Just have to train your eyes to be able to see that. So we said from our first candle and the third candle, this is the second scenario. You can see that these candles are having their week, right? They're having week. And then you pick this last one. And what do we say this is? Can anybody answer this in the chat box so I can know you are actually following us? What do we say this scenario is? Is this an imbalance or this is a fair value gap? You can see there is an uptrend here that broke this structure. We have a BOS. We have a break of structure. Before it created another structure. So we have a BOS here, right? A break of structure to this upside. So there was a pullback leg here. Before there's a pullback, before it created this impulsive move upward, this massive move upward, and came to peak. price from this range, we have our we have this institutional candle around here, even though it's not that massive. But what do we say this is? Is this a fair value gap or an imbalance? Do you have anybody who is following us among people who said they understood? So you can see from here. Um, ah, Let me go back to our BTC chart so I can show you what I was saying. Let's go back to our BTC chart. From the example I gave you guys. Uh, why is this network actually doing like this? Where is the example I gave? Oh, I cannot actually find it. That's awkward. Okay, here is it. So the network is loading, but then yeah. Do we have anybody who can tell me what that was? So I clearly gave us this example around here. Look at this is it. So yeah, I'm still even on the on this same thing right now. This is the scenario I give us. 1, 2, and 3. So what do you say that is? An imbalance or a fair value gap, please? If there's nobody that is answering this means we are not really following. So that's a fair value gap. That's a fair value gap. So let's go back to BNB. But I want our chart where we are giving the examples. So you can see from here, in fact, from this scenario, you can see that this is a fair value gap. In fact, so if I was to and unfortunately, this block actually came, but it didn't hold, right? It didn't really hold because if I was to draw my other block around here, this is where I would have actually put my block here. This is an unmitigated block, it would have been, but market leader came back and didn't respect it. They broke back downward. So, right, in fact, I'm not surprised because you can see it actually created all of this, but then it didn't, market didn't respect it. It did all of this before it came back crashing. So in fact, we can see that there was a lot of manipulation around here. We also have another institutional, we also have institution joining this market, they're manipulating price. You can see in fact from here. So you can see your institutions joining this market. Look at after this pullback leg, look at boom and the manipulated price. They were targeting this block, but it didn't hold. But there was actually a bigger block resting beneath, which is actually this block here. So it's this block. So it came, they picked it. And this one also is not kind of holding. It is, but yeah, this was the block market was actually, they were actually targeting, which is this block around here. So we'll get to all of that. But what I want you guys to understand is that for you to identify um, a fair value gap or an imbalance, so you have to be able to spot your institutional candle. And this is a clear scenario in a downtrend. Look at, when we say Marabusu candle, look at this scenario is a very, very example of a fair value gap, which is giving you this. Look at your first and your third candle. Look at. And this is the second scenario. This is also a fair value gap and FVG. And I hope you guys were able to understand the explanation for tonight. If not, in some other classes that we'll be having, we'll be giving more examples. And I believe with this much examples that I gave, you guys are able to like understand the concept of fair value gap and imbalance. So yeah, if there's any question, please you can go ahead and ask so I can shed more light on it. We don't really have much time. I think we're even over our time with 7 minutes. So yeah, I would call on Leader Ocean or any other leader who has anything to add to what we have been saying. To wrap the class up. Leader Ocean, I don't think Leader Ocean to actually be able to talk. Leader Josh, please, are you there? Do you have any other leader in the house that has one or two that has to add? Hello.
Hi, Isabella. Thank you so much for the presentation. Please, if you have any question, you can use the chat or mute yourself and ask your question before we round up. All right, since we don't have any question, tomorrow we have our guest and prospect meeting. Please make sure that you invite your prospect and your guest for tomorrow's meeting. Tomorrow is our guest and prospect meeting. Please do make sure you invite your prospect and your guest for tomorrow's meeting. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. So we'll see us tomorrow. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Thank you.